What's up everyone, it's Carrie aka Nerdy Girl Crates. Welcome back to my channel. It's Manga Monday, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I have been trying to record this video now for 3 days, and it feels like it's been nothing but Murphy's Law every day since. I've had a dog who's been thrown up. Today I had a power outage that apparently was a planned power outage nobody in my neighborhood knew about. I've had computer issues. I've had training at the new job that went long past I thought it was going to. Yeah, so I'm finally here, late at night on a Sunday, finally with power and recording this video. And I kind of feel like that setting works pretty well for what we're going to talk about today because even though it's Manga Monday, we're actually going to talk about manhwa. Now, before I get into that, I want to remind everybody, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're almost to 600. We can do this. Come on, people. Also, if you're looking for some deals, it's the holidays, and who doesn't want deals for the holidays? I have some deals on manga and all. Stay tuned to the end of the video. But right now, let's talk manhwa. Now, for those who are new to my channel, if you don't know what manhwa is predominantly South Korean comics, and most of the time they start off as webtoons, including the one we're going to talk about today. This stuff is, you could find them online. You usually have to do a subscription, like I have webtoons, there's a couple of other ones that are out there. Some of them even have like manga that they license, but it's strictly in a digital format. But manhwa is, unlike manga, is colored. It's, very vibrant color, especially if you read it in digital. You could tell like they used a lot of like computer art to do it. It's like very bright depending on what shades they're using. And their stories, they try to incorporate like their own culture a lot into it. You probably saw my review on Seven Fates Chakra, which is from Hybe Entertainment, which if you don't know who Hybe Entertainment is, you're not a K-pop fan. Hybe Entertainment is one of the biggest K-pop companies in Korea. They're most famous for BTS and TXT and a couple of others. But they have gotten onto the manhwa game, and Seven Fates is actually a really good one. It's not out in print yet, but the company that we're going to talk about today, Eyes, is going to be releasing them in print at some point. Now, Eyes is a newer label from Yen Press that mainly focuses on manhwa, and they have been starting to release some of their series now. One of the ones is called The World Before the Fall, and this is an original story by Sing and Song, and it's adapted by S. Sien. If I'm not mistaken, I think he might have had something, or she might have had something to do with Solo Leveling, but I could be totally wrong. The World Before the Fall is this kind of like apocalyptic world that seems to be an ongoing theme in these fantasy action, and that's something we'll get more into later on. But it focuses on a character named Jaewon. I think I'm saying Jaewon. I think I said that right. Oh, Jaewon. And he is living in the modern world, and suddenly these towers start popping up all over the planet. And people are selected to go into these towers, and each floor is like a different challenge. It's like a video game, but you're playing it in real life, and yes, you die if you get killed. And he has been stuck in this tower far longer than any human should live past. He hasn't aged. He's become very jaded over time, and he's had enough, and he just wants to finally get to the top level. But he starts to uncover some stuff that kind of changes his perspective on the whole situation. Now, art, like we were saying, colored. Manhwa is mostly always in color. There's a few exceptions. If you read The Breaker, that is done in a manga style. It's in black and white. But most of the time it's in color because these are usually digital webtoons. Now, when you read it in digital, there is a difference than reading it in a printed format, and I think that's where things start to affect the story, because when you read it in webtoons, like unlike manga where you're reading it in a different direction, you know, we read from left to right, they read from right to left. With manhwa, you're kind of reading up and down, and no, the actual word bubbles are actually done in a left to right format, but you're scrolling up, so you're not turning pages, you're scrolling up, and sometimes the image is really big and it continues on down. So to take that and now format it into a printed thing, you kind of lose stuff. And I think that's kind of where the printed format suffers a bit, is that you don't get that full, like, oh my god, like as you're scrolling down and the whole scene starts to get revealed, kind of like surprise. And instead, you're turning pages like you would normally do. That's one thing. The color also is another. Like I said, it's very much more enhanced when you're looking at it on a computer screen or an iPad, phone. In printed format, it that you kind of lose that luster that kind of makes it like really stand out. So it's unavoidable because you're going into a printed format. Yes, you might be using glossy pages, but there's that kind of like sheen that's missing, if you know what I'm talking about. However, the colors are still pretty good. Um, Again, if you haven't read it before on a webtoon, I think the printed format might not be a problem for you. If you have, you're going to notice some differences between the two formats because they've had to cut it down a lot to fit. I have the book here. I'll show you. It's like a standard manga size. It's a little bigger than a manga. Um, but yeah, they had to cut it down to fit into these panels, fit the panels into these pages, and yeah, you lose something. You do. But I think if you're not somebody who likes to read online, this is going to work. Now, story-wise, as somebody who's been reading a lot of manhwa and webtoons, I noticed a trend with stories that are coming over here based around action fantasies. Um, Japan is really known for their isekais, which, if you don't know, is when a character is taken, say, from the modern world, is like transported into another world, or maybe transported into the past. Um, like Rising of the Shield Hero is a good example, Inuyasha. The difference with this is it's kind of like both worlds are still intact. Like the character can still cross back and forth between the two worlds. Solo Leveling, which probably was what the really big first big hit of a manhwa, I would say here. You had a character who was training to be a hunter that would go into these gates and go into these other worlds and battle demons, you know, kind of preventing these demons from crossing over to the regular world. There's another one I'm reading called The Druid of Sol, and it's kind of similar to Solo Leveling. Instead, he's more like somebody who was trapped in an isekai type world and learned to train and become really strong, and then comes back and that strength is on his side, and he starts to build up other skills like magic and everything, and he goes through gates and he's fighting things. See my trend here? See the trend here? Yeah. So The World Before the Fall does something a little different, but there are other series that do something similar. I'm reading one now, which I'll be doing a review on, but it is, instead of gates opening up, towers start to appear around the world. And these towers demand that every area where there's a tower, they are to select champions to go into this tower and fight their way up to the top. Otherwise, people will start getting slaughtered. So people are randomly picked, or so you think, including our main character Jae-won, and he goes into this tower, and over the years, he starts with a group of people, and after time, he loses the group of people. There's a stone that appears called the Regression Stone that gives people the opportunity to go back in time, or so they think. He refuses to use it because he is determined to get to the top because he wants to save everybody who's on the outside. Now, it's been so long, most of the people he's known is probably not there anymore on the outside. Or are they? See, the one thing that I did like with this story is that the ending kind of like throws a curveball, and you start to find out the truth about the situation. And I don't really want to spoil it too much because it's a pretty good twist, because for most of the book I'm reading it going, I felt like I've read this story 1,000 times. The characters always seem to look exactly alike. It's this really tall young guy with dark hair and most of the time blue eyes, who's training to defeat the great whatever. The other thing that's always seems to be in these type of stories is they use like a video game interface that suddenly will pop up magically in front of them to tell them their points and how much more they need to get stronger and what they have collected, like they're in a video game. Same in Solo Leveling, same in the Druid of Sol, and same in this. It's kind of like, okay, it's interesting. It worked the first time I read it, but now going on third and a fourth book, which you'll find out later, they're kind of like, okay, can we change it up a bit? And I felt like other stories did that. If you, again, I'm going to refer to Seven Fates Chakra. Seven Fates Chakra. It's me. The BTS story. Now, again, everybody, when I bring this up, goes, oh god, I don't want to read a story featuring a K-pop group. It doesn't feature a K-pop group. It features their likeness, but it is not them. And it's got nothing to do with K-pop music. It is actually a world where a gate gets opened up accidentally, and all these monsters are unleashed on Korea, and you have people who are hunters fighting them and trying to take them down, and you have like this one group of 7 guys who are kind of chosen to be the ones to defeat these monsters. But there's other things that start to come up too, and you find out more. And I think that's interesting because it's different from what these books have been doing. And again, I feel like everybody wants to be solo leveling. Now, I don't know if solo leveling was first or one of these were first, but it feels a little redundant. So I do applaud The World Before the Fall doing something different at the end. So it does have me curious enough to pick up the next book. However, I just kind of feel like now, I don't know if this is something that's happening in Korea, or if this is just what the publishers over here who are getting these licenses think is going to be popular. Because I've seen other manhwa like The Breaker. If you haven't read that, if you like Cobra Kai, check out my review on that. That's completely different from this too, and I think it's really well done. I feel like they keep picking the same type of stories because it's a guaranteed win. And it's the problem I have with modern entertainment here in the West, where they keep recycling the same type of thing and just thinking everybody's still going to buy it because it has this. But after a while, you know, it's redundant and the quality is falling apart and nobody's really trying anymore. So I kind of wish, like, Eyes and some of these other publishers who are trying to bring manhwa over take a chance more on different types of fantasy stories. I mean, Japan, yes, you have your isekais, and you do have your stories that kind of like feel like they're in a video game. Sometimes they're in a video game. But I feel like they still have so much more to offer, that you have so many choices within one type of genre. And I know manhwa is still kind of new here, so it's not to the point where manga is, but I just kind of hope they don't keep depending on one type of story to sell. And I'll say this. I don't hate The World Before the Fall. Like I said, the ending is what kept me on board. I haven't continued it on Webtoons. I'm kind of trying to stick with the book format because, you know, like I said, there's a difference between Webtoons, the difference between a printed format, and I don't want to ruin that experience for me, because that kind of happened with me with Solo Leveling. I read Solo Leveling online first, and I was like, wow, this is great. Then you get the books, and it's still good, but you notice the change in the formatting. I'm rambling now, I'm sorry. But I would like to see, like, more chances being taken on different types of fantasy stories from Korea. They have them. There's a lot of stuff I know people talk about that they wish would be coming over here. I would love to see them coming over here. I know there's people who are uploading them illegally and people are reading them that way, which is, you don't ever want to support that, but I understand why people would do it. Again, The World Before the Fall, if you have not read Solo Leveling or The Druid of Sol or The Tomb Raider King, I would say go for it because this is your first time reading it. This one I would say is a lot more darker than the other ones. It is a much more like apocalyptic. I can't talk today. See, I'm having that week. It's much more darker, much more gritty, much more like the aftermath of an apocalypse, or so you think. And where Solo Leveling is like kind of the world still existing with this other world, same with some of the others. I'm going on and on, I know. But overall, I think if you have not ventured into these type of stories already, you're going to enjoy it. If you have ventured into these type of stories before, you're going to be feeling like it's been done over and over. And you would be right. However, if you're somebody who's trying to get into something outside of Western comics, but you're not into manga because you don't like the black and white or the reading format, manhwa is a really good option for you because manhwa is in color and manhwa is in the traditional left to right reading that we do. Except for the breaker. But yeah, so I mean, if you want to dip your feet into something outside of American comic books, and again, you're hesitant because of those things I mentioned about manga, try manhwa. Maybe this story will work for you because, again, like I said, the ending is the only thing that made me want to continue on. Because if they didn't end it the way they did, I wouldn't. But overall, it's art's really good. The story is not bad. It's pretty good. It's just been there, done that. Except for the ending. And it's from Eyes, and I'm hoping Eyes, decides to kind of try and do a little bit more different stuff with action fantasy. I'm in a hard place with this. I don't know if you've noticed. It's kind of like, I can't hate it because the story is good, but I can't love it because I've already experienced this before with other stories. That's pretty much like the best way I could say it. I've been going on and on about this. But so yeah, that's The World Before the Fall. Check it out. Now, if you're looking for some good deals on manga, Right Stuf Anime, they have deals on everything you can think of. Manhwa, manga, they have bundle sales where if you're looking for multiple volumes for a series, they might have it. And they have some really good deals. They have a membership too where you can additional discounts. They've got anime, they've got merch, they got figures, they got pre-orders for figures and other stuff. They also have Western graphic novels, so if you're looking for something from DC or Marvel, it could be there. They have some great deals. It's like a one-stop shop for otakus. Check it out. Also, Tuesday nights, yes, it's been kind of on and off every week lately because of the squad's commitments and my venture into this new job. But Otaku Tuesdays is usually Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The squad and I get together to talk about manga licenses and so much more, our top 5 for the week. So hopefully that'll be back this week, so check that out. I'm also going to be involved in some more manga reading vlogs at some point, so I will keep you posted on those. In the meantime, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know about any other manhwa you think I might be interested in, because I ranted a lot on this one. And I again, not because I hate it, not because I dislike it, not because I think it's great. It's one of those where I'm in a weird position on it. But I'm open to try more manhwa, so please let me know. Webtoons, whatever. I have accounts. I can read up there. But in the meantime, you have a good night. Happy holidays, because they are coming up fast, really fast. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.